I'm going to make my Dream Dinosaur game 10 times better. On the 9th of October last year, I shared an idea which, as a fan of dinosaurs, I love, and to my surprise, so did you. But just like me, you want more. I've gone through every single comment and tallied up the top 5 most requested features that you made, and one by one we are going to bring them to life. But we're going to do it all in only 14 days. So once again, come with me on a journey as we step into the prehistoric world. And make sure you stick around for the full journey, as I have something very exciting to share with you at the end of the video, and I am not joking. And here we are, after months of being away, I'm back in the project, and what a nice little mess I've left for myself, which is exactly why the keyword for the next 14 days is foundation. We're going to build a system which is scalable, something I could return to after a few months and not want to cry. That means actor components, data assets, objects, and so forth. These are all going to unlock the door to the features you want to see the most. Right now though, we're going to start with the camera. Whilst making the cameras better isn't an exact feature request you made, it is at the core of the game, so we need to get this feeling right. We had only one camera, and now we're going to add more. But that means we need to be able to differentiate between them. Some cameras may excel in one area, whilst others may suffer in others. To provide these trade-offs, we need more depth to the way the camera works. I'm going to implement data assets which will set a camera's capabilities, like the maximum zoom, and a couple of our new settings like brightness and fast action. It's basically the camera's stats which will allow each one to actually feel different. And the new structure is coming along well so far. I am able to start playing around with more than one camera, a basic camera versus an advanced camera, and I can already feel the difference. The more premium camera definitely has that je ne sais quoi. I failed French. I don't know why, but none of the camera work will matter if the communication of these settings and the user experience is difficult. And right now, it really is. But with the Z, L, and G keys for different settings, not only is it not intuitive, but you're going to have a sore hand after taking just a few photos. It's not a good user experience. I need to find a way of cycling through the settings in a much cleaner way. Cycling. That's it, that's the solution. Instead of bouncing from one setting to another, we can move through them by going left or right. And we can do so with the Q and E keys, so now changing the camera setting will only involve 3 buttons. Already this feels so much better. But with so many words on screen, I'm still feeling overwhelmed by the camera settings. I'm going to switch for words for icons, and I'm going to make some rearrangements to make sure things are super clear. I didn't necessarily have any of this work planned, but as complexity increases, the need for clarity also does. And we can round out day 1 knowing that we're starting to strike that balance. And we've got more than one camera now. But it also means it's the end of day 1, and we've not even touched the first feature request yet. Oh dear. Today I want to test the cameras a bit more, focusing on whether the fast action setting actually captures motion with blur. That is what I should do. I woke up today with the feeling that the camera communication, it still just isn't right. And so despite my time-conscious part screaming at me, "No! God, please, no!" I'm going to make some further changes. No! I would say the feeling that more needed to be done to the camera communication was right. Well done me, because the camera's complexity is finally condensed into something more readable. And now, with that part of my brain scratched, I can actually get started on what I wanted. Making sure the fast action setting is doing what it should, and that should be quick and easy. But in true game development fashion, what should have been simple opened up a whole new box of problems. The basic camera should have some blur, and the advanced camera should have less. That's the idea, but not the result. No matter how fast the sphere is, no matter what my fast action setting is, and no matter the camera I use, it is always with no motion blur. Why? Oh, I bet it's because I've turned motion blur off in the post-process. Yeah, that'll be it. Nope, that's not it. After some thinking and tinkering and ruling out the camera as a suspect, I eventually found the culprit. It's the way we're taking photos. We take a high resolution screenshot, and that means it doesn't take into consideration anything before or after, and therefore it has no motion blur. But don't worry, there is a console command which can force motion blur even with this method of capturing photos. The panic is over. Now, if you thought I was being serious right then, welcome to game development. The console command doesn't work in a packaged build. I think it's an editor only thing, because of course it is. Panic? Yeah? Yeah, you can come back now. This issue shows that we're starting to outgrow our current method of capturing photos, so it's time to switch to a new one. It's the render to texture method. Instead of taking a screenshot of a single frame, we're going to give our camera a scene capture component. This is basically a camera which will capture the scene as it is, meaning the before and after should be considered. Fortunately, I can keep the same file path method from last time, so quite quickly it's up and running, and hey, there we go, we have motion blur working. We have really taken the long route round today, but let's now finally test our fast action setting to see how that works. It doesn't. Motion blur is fixed, but the setting itself isn't doing anything. We're nearing the end of day 2, and after having to fight problem after problem, and now this, I'm deciding to not fight it at all. Really, what I want is the fast action rating to give you more or less motion blur. So I'm just going to have that pre-built into the camera and remove the editable setting. The trade-offs between cameras are actually even stronger now, and there's one less setting to worry about when taking a photo. So despite a day filled with workarounds and unexpected issues, it's a day which has ultimately put us in a stronger position and truly fulfilled the cameras. Now, heading into day 3, we can actually begin our first feature request. And it's a big one. Our first major feature request we're going to implement is photo ranking. This is the idea of having the game understand what you've taken a photo of, something which I think could get quite complex and present some major design challenges. So honestly, I'm going into this with some hesitation and questions. The first question being, what are we measuring? Now there's a couple of options here. We could measure the composition, but we could also measure the subject itself. How interesting is that dinosaur? Whichever way we go, we need two things for certain. We need to know what is in our picture and who is the main subject. Within our newly organized actor component for the camera, we can set up a box trace. This should say, here's everything in front of you, and therefore, here's what is in frame. But my naive assumption is quickly proven wrong. The issue is, as you get further away, the box does not scale. So if we have dinosaurs in our picture which just aren't close enough, well, they might get missed. Back to the drawing board. After a few more attempts at various solutions, of which they just keep getting more complicated, my concerns about complexity at the start of the day, well, they're coming true. With how this is going, I'm concerned things are going to start getting out of hand, which is ridiculous because really, I just want to know, are you on screen or not? Are you on screen? I've asked this question before. I recently made a Lego game on the channel, and as part of that I needed to translate studs from world space to screen space. I might be able to do the same here, but instead of studs, it's dinosaurs. The natural progression of game development, of course. I can get the dinosaur, convert world location to screen location, and then check if this is within the bounds of the screen size. In frame, out of frame. That works. It is so much easier to understand and so much cleaner in its logic. A huge win, but really only a small step. We know what's in our frame, but what is the main subject? After even more failed attempts just piling up for the day, I realized that in my effort to find a method of identifying the main subject, I'm looking for a single key answer, but there isn't one. There's multiple. Having played the game a lot at this point and starting to consciously consider what am I doing when I take a photo, I've narrowed it down to 3 key variables: visibility, distance, and center of screen. All 3 of these are assumptions and none of them work in isolation, but together they might be able to tell me what the main subject is. To calculate visibility, I'm going to put sockets on the dinosaur's skeleton. When I take a photo, I want to ask if anything is in the way of the camera and these points. The number of points not blocked will tell us the percentage of visibility. Distance is nice and simple as I can get that directly from the trace hit result, and for center of screen we can utilize our previous friend of the world to screen space conversion to see how close we are to the middle of the frame. Combine them into a single score, and from that, we get something I wasn't even sure we'd find. A surprisingly reliable way of finding the main subject of a photo. Even with multiple dinosaurs, when you take photos in a natural way, the system is really pretty good at making a correct assumption. A result I am very happy to finally see, because today has been a test of persistence. For every success, there have been multiple failed attempts and just moments of doubt. It has, however, cost us an entire day. The good news is that now we can get into the real meat of the photo ranking. How do you decide if this is a good photo? Or what about this? Yesterday I said we could judge composition, but this is very subjective. The other option was the subject, the dinosaur. While still subjective, we can be a bit more data driven with it. But then what makes one dinosaur more interesting than another? It might be the unusual colour of it. Is it bigger than normal? Interest is often found in differences, and so I'm going to compare what a dinosaur is to what we expect it to be. But the key question does remain. Can you objectively judge a photo and have it feel right? We need to give our dinosaurs more identity, so I'm doing that with data assets, one per genus, starting with the Triceratops. This is where I'll define things like weight range, the expected group size, and the possible colour rarities. Then these variables are set when a dinosaur spawns for the first time. I also set up another data asset per genus, but this one holds the expected values, like the average weight. By accessing the main subject, thank you day 3, we can use the data to score, on a scale of 1 to 5, how far away a dinosaur is from what's considered normal. For example, a very heavy dinosaur will be scored higher. And from that we can assign a star rating. Despite only being a print string right now, it is working. And it's really cool to see this come together. But my satisfaction is from a developer's point of view. As a player, I'm not sure. When the game says, hey, that's a 5-star photo, I'm not sure I'm feeling it. A heavy Triceratops, it doesn't really feel like it's heavy. I don't see the weight of its stomach or the scale of its frill. And I think that's part of the tension I'm feeling right now. The system is in one place, the reality is in another. I want to truly feel like I'm in the world of dinosaurs. I'm so sorry, my screen's been playing up a little bit recently. Let me just give it a little whack. Where were we? Oh yeah, what isn't helping right now is that the star ratings are just print strings. So let's get this finished up properly. But to do this, we need to introduce a new way of working. I'm going to use objects. These objects are basically vessels for data. We construct one, pass data into it, and then pass the object reference around. In this case, it's a photo, and it's storing a file path and the star rating. And this workflow is something we're going to hopefully be implementing into more than just photos going forward. We can now access our photo objects and display our star ratings via stars.
Obviously.
Shocking, I know. And these will appear in both the preview pop-up and in the gallery. So now we have our full photo ranking system, and I can begin to really test the experience. But it has left me with a lot of thoughts. The visual stars, as hoped, have helped. Every photo you're hoping to see 4s or 5s, and when you do there is a moment of satisfaction, but there is not an immediate understanding of why you got the rating that you did. But even if it's better than I expected, the confusion can dull the enjoyment. Does the system need more data points to consider? Should composition be factored into all of this? Maybe we could add labels to the photos to help outline why it is or is not exceptional. Right now, it's all just thoughts, and I need to let them spin and see what comes out on the other side. Can you objectively judge something as subjective as a photo and have it feel right? I don't know. Now that we know how good your photos are, or aren't, we can start to fulfill the sneaky second part of this requested feature, selling photos. The player will have an actor component on them for handling money, with functions for adding, yes, and taking it away. Ugh. But because this is a game I hope you'll play, I have to deal with an annoying pair of little enemies. And they're called saving and loading. And it has been working so far. I'm doing it with the photo data, which is why your photos save. You are welcome. But something as simple as a float, that isn't saving. This is the duality of game development at its finest. Complicated things, say fine. Simple thing, nah. I'd love to say it isn't my fault, but it kind of is. Every time I'm making a change to a value, like the amount of money you have, I'm saving. The problem is when I do that more than once in a row, the saves overwrite each other. I need to change the way I'm thinking about this. I need to view it as a session. When you open the laptop, you load the game ready for changes to happen. You do what you're doing, and then when you're done, you save the game. It's a single get and a single set. So yeah, I think it was my fault, but the saving and loading had still made itself known and reminded me that it can come and ruin the day at any time. Hopefully the rest of the day goes well because we're entering our next big feature, which was highly requested. Quests/missions. The game encourages you to do your own thing, take pictures of what you want and make your own adventure. But there are moments where you might look for a bit of direction, and this is where photo contracts are going to come in. These are randomly generated requests for specific photos. You will get the option of an easy, medium and hard contract, and these are all objects, of which we should probably try and save at some point. Oh good. An easy contract might read as something like, take a photo of a Triceratops alone. A hard contract might read as something like, take a photo of a rare variant heavy Triceratops eating. The contract's requirements are going to utilize the data we're already capturing as part of our photos, so we're building off of that same foundation. A foundation which I hope is going to showcase its power. With the contracts being randomly generated and there being lots of variations you could create, I want to allow you to do so with the simple click of a button. And because we are constructing objects and setting references, we can easily ask the act component to regenerate them. And therefore, with the click of a button, we have many contracts generated right before us. Contracts which present you with continuously fresh challenges within the prehistoric world. We could add more dinosaurs to this, we could add more conditions. It can scale, and that is exciting. Oh, good, you're back. When you close the game and reopen it, I'd like to keep the last contracts you generated. So I need to save the contract data, and if that exists in your save file, I want to go straight to loading it. Having seemed to have learnt my lessons from the start of the day, the setup seemed correct. But unexpectedly, it's not working. I mean, the issue could be anything. It could be the structure, like something more deep-rooted within the objects. I mean, you never know. It could be a bug. I might need to make a whole new save system. Oh. No, I just plugged in the wrong variable. Yeah. I handled that well. Contracts generating, saving and loading tamed for now, and it's all sitting nicely in the updated laptop, which feels more laptop-y, that's a word. We can round out the day as a successful step forward with this new feature request for quests, but it is not finished yet. It's a new day, but we've still got a way to go yet with our photo contracts. We've got a quest, we've got a camera. Let's now tie the past few days of work together and get the contract success working. I have a contract for a Triceratops which is walking, and upon taking a photo, our on-photo taken dispatcher is going to shout out. Our quest log component hears this and receives the data of your photo. Inside our object, we're checking our contract condition of action, which equals walking, to our photo data, which in this case is also walking. The contract is easy, so you only needed one condition to be met, and this contract is now a success. But whilst that is all working, it doesn't exactly feel like a success. Not much happens, I don't feel rewarded. The first thing I want is some sweet XP, and this wasn't as straightforward as I had hoped. I thought we'd just be adding a couple of floats together, but I need to consider level thresholds change, XP can carry over, and that you can even level up multiple times at once. So what I thought was just adding numbers together turned into something more. But now, it works. With what is hopefully the most mathy part of the rewards out of the way, I'm going to spend the rest of the day making sure everything ties together and feels rewarding. I'm going to add the player XP and money onto the HUD, so you're always aware of how rich and wise you are, or poor and stupid. The boring stuff like removing the active contract and regenerating you a fresh batch of contracts, but my favourite addition is a photo contract complete pop-up. This is the biggest confirmation of yay, you did it. Fortunately, I managed to keep the annoying little pest of saving and loading at bay today, with no major issues, but it is always there needing attention so the game doesn't crash and burn. And there we have it, contracts fully working. They provide a sense of direction and guidance that you can always fall back to whenever you're not already on your own adventure, and you never know what your next contract might be. And with them now working, I keep fulfilling contract after contract, which does mean taking photo after photo. But by taking this time to take so many photos, something became very clear. I've been playing the game and enjoying the experience, which your suggestions have helped to create, but the uncertainty of day 4, it never left. Can we objectively judge a photo and have it feel right? I found the answer. It is no. Imagine you're looking for a Stegosaurus. You've been looking for a minute and then you hear heavy footsteps. Maybe it's the Stegosaurus, but you realize you're actually being chased by a T-Rex. You escape and then turn around, and as if by magic, there it is, the Stegosaurus. It's only a common skin variation, but that's your favorite because you like the color scheme. You take your photo and the game tells you, bad. 2 stars. The dinosaur may be average in most aspects, but you like the photo. There's a story and a moment attached to it. No system should tell me if that's good or bad, and that is why I don't feel satisfied. So where do we go from here? Well, only half of it is actually the problem. The Spinosaurus is average sized and standing still, and therefore it is bad. It's the and therefore part which is the problem. It's the opinion, it's the judgment. That's for you to do. But identifying what's interesting? That part is valuable. Maybe we could add labels to the photos to help outline why it is or is not exceptional. In this off-the-cuff idea I just threw out there, I think the solution lies. I'm going to add a badge system. This will use our main subject and data capturing methods we've set up, but instead of trying to make a judgment, we turn it into discoveries. There's an almost collective element to it, and each badge will even give you a minor money boost. If you're taking photos of standout dinosaurs, then that's great. You should get a little extra for that, but you do it your way. Realizing that days of work haven't gone the way I wanted is tough. It's difficult to judge whether something is foundationally misaligned or it just needs more. But in those moments, I think you need to go off feeling and this new direction. It feels right. And now I can take a photo of my favourite dinosaur and not be judged for it. Actually, that does remind me, I have a little bone to pick with you. In the last video, I asked for your favourite dinosaurs, so naturally, I went through the comments and counted every single vote. And I can tell you the results. The best dinosaur, according to the comments, is Spinosaurus, which I'll allow. It's also in my top 3. What I will not allow is the Ankylosaur not even being in the top 5. I mean, how dare you? So if you're new, if your list has changed, or if you just want to defend your dinosaur, like me, comment below and let me know your favourite. Let's see if the Spinosaurus can hold the crown. Vote for the Ankylosaur. Do it! The badges have taken a good chunk of today up, but with them implemented and feeling positive, I'm going to use some time now to address a couple of extra little feedback notes I'd made. The main one being to finally fulfill your feature request for more dinosaur skins. I don't know what's happening here. Now the skin variations are a bit limited since it's mostly overlay blending and tinting, although there are some local gradients which makes for some nice results, but they aren't custom skins. I would ideally be doing that, but I'm not going to because it's... you okay? Yeah, just clear my throat. Yeah. Okay. But I'm not going to do that because... 1 second. What are you doing? What do you mean? I've just got a tickly throat. You keep interrupting me. Like I'm going to say something I shouldn't. Well, you were. You were going to say about that. The screen died. Sorry. Okay, well, setting up all the data assets and skin variations took way longer than I thought because it's the end of day 7. Oh boy. But at least we can now move on to the final 2 features you all requested to see, and one cannot exist without the other. The shop and equipment. The place to spend your hard-earned cash and progress by unlocking new items to help you within the prehistoric world. The shop follows the same structure as everything else, an active component managing objects that hold data. Something I am going to try, which we haven't done before, is setting up the objects in a hierarchy. We're going to have 3 types of item: camera, equipment, and vehicle. These 3 item types may have different variables we care about, like with the cameras we want the camera and the lens stats. We obviously don't need that for the Jeep. So I have a parent object item which then branches into 3 types of item, and then they branch into the specific items themselves. This seems like it should work and it makes logical sense to me, but I quickly regret my decision, or at least part of it. Whenever I need to access that item's data, because of that middle layer for the item types, it becomes difficult. I'm fighting against the structure, references are wrong, and it's already getting quite messy. I'm going to take a step back. I want all possible variables under one single object. This is the parent. I then want just the specific items as children. And these child objects are going to have variables set within them, like the name of the item or the cost of it. These are going to be our default values. This cuts the awkward middleman out and allows me to access the item info more cleanly. With this little conundrum seemingly solved, I can start displaying the camera stats, and this is going to be a really nice moment. The details, the features, and the trade-offs which we spent time creating at the start, well, they're now on display within the shop, and it feels like that work is starting to pay off. You know, actually, I like this camera. I'm going to buy it. The widget sends that request to our shop actor component, and if the store manager is happy with your funds, then you can have the item, and if not, then he'll tell you no, politely, of course. Fuck. The equipment is going to be a hotbar at the bottom of your screen, which you can cycle through via the keys 1 to 6. You buy an item and it goes straight into a predetermined slot. The equipment bar is an array of item objects, which we can add to, remove from, and save. And it all seems to be working just fine. The game saves, I close it, reopen it, and voila. The item is right back where I left it. It works. As the very full and very busy days come into a wrap, I'm going to quickly tie everything together. Active slot highlights, changing your item in hand, and making sure the bar hides or reveals depending on what you're doing. There's a lot of moving pieces here with multiple layers. The shop, the items, the equipment bar, and the saving and loading of it all. And I'm really quite surprised the day has gone as smoothly as it has so far. Don't get me wrong, that's great. But it also makes me feel a little bit nervous. Inside our newly crafted shop, you may have noticed a couple of unfamiliar names. The sleeping bag and the motion sensor, our new piece of equipment to be added into the game. Let's start with the sleeping bag. And right now, this isn't it. Ah, there we go, much better. It's going to be pretty common across most, if not all items, that they can be placed down and picked up. So I set up a blueprint interface for doing just that. But because this is a game I want you to play and hopefully have a good experience with, I have to ask myself, if you were to close the game right now, would it remember that you placed a sleeping bag here? Right now, the answer is no, but it should be yes. An item can only exist in one place at a time. If it's in the equipment bar, it cannot be in the world, and vice versa. So I need to track where it is, and then save the object. And then save the object. And that is when it hits me. We may have been developing on a foundation of sand and not stone. Because there is a golden rule with objects which changes everything. They themselves cannot be saved. You cannot save an object. The game saves, I close it, reopen it, and voila. The item is right back where I left it. It works. And now, I am lost. Because you've seen it, I've seen it, the equipment bar saves, it restores the items, the correct items in the correct slot, whether it comes from the shop or from the world. It works. But it shouldn't. I sat for a while, thinking, debugging, looking for an explanation. Eventually, I realized something. It doesn't work. It just looks like it works. It was a mistake, masked as a success. Because so far we haven't needed to change anything. Item name, cost, the type, it all remained the same. So when we think we're saving our item objects, we're actually just recreating them. And because of the way I set up the hierarchy, with child objects holding default values, whether it is new or saved, it looks identical. Now that we're changing something, the item location, we can see that it's not actually saving anything. And it never was. That means actor components, data assets, objects, and so forth. These objects are basically vessels for data. We construct one, pass data into it, and then pass the object reference around. The answer was always there. I'd been using it from the start, but a seemingly harmless choice I made in day 7 hid the mistake so well, I never stopped to question it. So now, I need to start doing it the right way. Each item is going to have a data asset for the static information and a save data structure for anything that can change, like its location. In the shop, these objects will be constructed using this data. It is the exact object construction method we've been doing from day 1. For items placed in the world, I'm going to identify the save data by a name for each item I put down. So when I reload the game, I can find the name, check its location, and spawn it where it should be. During this, I have broken the equipment bar, which is great, but the main thing right now is that the item location is updating and saving. I can place an item and it will stay there. Our previous mistake is no longer hiding. I wish I could say that's all of our problems solved, but it does not end there. What if you place down multiple items? I could just say no. You can only have one item at a time, but that's not what this is about. The work from the start has been about foundation. At the end of yesterday's chaotic day, I set up a system using names to map to item save data, but I don't trust it as a solution. And so rather than accepting as working, as previously done, I'm starting to look for an answer. And thankfully, I find it. GUID, a globally unique identifier. For everyone's sake, I'm just going to call it an ID, and unlike names, once the ID is created, it can never be changed. It is actually unique, and that is perfect for us placing multiple items because at that point, they also become unique. We can now give an ID to every item we construct in the shop. This is like the store manager putting a barcode on it. It will never change, and as long as we know the barcode, we can access its save data. And with this change, we've made our own golden rule. As long as the item knows its ID, it knows who it is. From the shop, to the equipment bar, to the world, as long as it has this, we can access its save data and change its location. It took me a short while to get my head wrapped around all of this. There's a lot of moving pieces, but finally, the flow of it all is starting to click. Maybe now I can catch my breath and I don't know, play the game for a few minutes, enjoy the experience. Shit. I forgot the equipment bar broke. With all of the changes, reworks, and confusion of the last couple of days, I haven't actually fixed the root of the issues. The equipment bar not saving was the mistake hiding, and I can see it's not working. The equipment bar is an array of objects that I'm wrongly still trying to save and load. The shop is the one constructing the items correctly. Amongst the chaos, I just hadn't done that for the inventory. So now, in a crazy full circle moment, when the game loads, I can access the saved item data, reconstruct objects for the equipment bar, and pass along its ID because as long as it knows its ID, it knows who it is. The last couple of days have been really challenging, but now all of your items, whether placed or not, will be saved and loaded reliably.
Everyone see that because I will not be doing it again.
Oh, hello Blender. Okay. Let's go make a motion sensor. Our second piece of equipment is going to be the true test of whether our system actually works. I can see the pieces clicking, but it's not really been tested with something new, and I can't really relax until it has been. Now is that chance. I don't have the mental capacity to wrestle with 3 models right now, so I'm going to do everything myself, but very quickly because day 10 is coming to a close. I'm going to make a high poly and a low poly model so I can bake my textures. I'm keeping the level of detail fairly simple for the sake of time, and once unwrapped and baked, I can texture it. I had a couple of little details because why not? And eventually we have ourselves a motion sensor in engine and ready to face the test. Time to see if after everything, it all works. There we go. Let's ignore the wrong rotation for now because it is working. This is why we invested the time into getting the foundations right. This is why. We can add more items and have them set up pretty quickly and comfortably. That is also exactly why I want to know your ideas for tools and equipment to use in this prehistoric world. Get them written down in the comments. I will see it. Let's bring those ideas to life. The shop and the equipment are working, finally. But the equipment doesn't actually do anything right now. That is our next quest. It feels like we've been driving through fog for a while, and we're now out on the other side. The weather is clear, and we can push forward with our new equipment. Currently, you can pick up and place items within the world, but I don't tell you how to do that. And we're going to be adding more interactions. My plan with this is to create a small UI pop-up for every item. This will be a small box with a prompt and a key binding that appears when you get close and fades out when you move away. Now, you know what to press. But this brings up a question. What does the sleeping bag do? Well, it's multifunctional, but at its core it's about mobility. It allows you to access the laptop from anywhere, you can set your respawn point, and finally, you can change the time of day. The time of day is something which was requested quite a bit, but not enough to be in the top 5 feature requests. So I'm going to try and keep this as a very simple switch. I would really like to take the time of day much, much further, but not today. The respawn point is a simple location variable in the save game, and the time of day is also quite simple. until it wasn't. It's a blueprint containing the sun and the sky, and when you switch, you change the variables on each one to represent the time of day. The result is daytime lighting to nighttime lighting. So what's the problem? Oh, yeah, okay, I see the problem. The camera values that work in the day don't give the night experience I think you should be having. Unless that camera is specifically made for being excellent at nighttime photography, the photos should feel quite dark, a bit grainy, and have a lack of colour. But this time of day system is temporary, so I need a solution which can fit the current way of working. And once again, the way we have things set up has come to the rescue. If you cast your mind back to the start of this journey, what the cameras can and cannot do is defined by their data assets. If I want to limit their brightness and increase their noise, then I just need to switch the data asset being used. So now, when I lift the camera at night, I'm making a switch and I'm working with brightness settings which don't strip away the feeling of nighttime. And now with just the sleeping bags functionality alone, it feels like the game just got so much bigger. But we've still got a bit of time today to get started on the motion sensor, and it does exactly what it sounds like it should do. You can place it on most surfaces, floors, trees, rocks, and it will alert you to when something has moved in front of it. Where it gets more interesting is that you're going to be able to set your own custom names for them. For example, you might place a motion sensor down and give it the name North Path. When that gets triggered, it should give me a North Path notification so I know what sensor that is. I'm sure you can imagine the use in this, but we first need to actually get it working. The motion sensor is really asking one question: what is in front of me? So using a box trace we can get a hit result, and if the dinosaur is hit, then motion is detected. Finished? No, there's a couple more considerations needed. The trace needs to happen repeatedly, but only when it actually needs to. So I use an overlap volume to activate the trace when a dinosaur is actually nearby. But there's still one more problem. Even though we're just using print strings to alert us right now, it's pretty annoying when a dinosaur stands in front of it and you're being alerted over and over and over. I'm going to add a variable so the trace will remember the last thing it hit, and if it hits it again straight after, it will just ignore it. With the core functions of the motion sensor working, day 11 is coming to a wrap, and what a difference it has been. The fog is behind us, and the whole day has just felt different. It's been about progress. The only real enemy left now is time. And we're running short on it. With a nice clean run in day 11, we can pick up right where we left off. The motion sensor is mostly functionally working, but it's not really communicating with the player very well. The purpose of it is to alert you, so I'm going to set up a widget which takes a name variable and displays it to you as a notification. The motion sensor name is very important, but we'll have to come back to that, because I've just had an idea. You see, it's not very clear how far the motion sensor is actually tracking, but we can fix that. I'm going to add a plane with a simple emissive beam material to show its range, and I'm going to make this material dynamic so when something is detected, it turns green, otherwise it will be red. Both are nice extra bits of communication, and it also just looks cool. Now let's go back to our motion sensor name. We want to be able to change this in the alert notification. So I'm going to create another widget where you can type in a custom name. Press rename and this will set the name variable, and importantly, we need to save this. The name is unique to that specific item. If only we went through a whole ordeal to get a system set up for these exact situations. Oh yeah. We can save the motion sensor map to the item ID, so as long as we know the ID, we will know the name. This made the saving and loading really smooth, and after day 9 and 10, our foundations are now holding us up very nicely. A notification doesn't feel complete without sound, so even though I always leave audio until the very end, it's too late. I am already on Uppbeat, and for good reason. I've been using it since late 2024 and it is my go-to place. I don't normally talk about Uppbeat very much, but I did want to quickly mention that if you're a creator or a game developer like myself, it is genuinely worth checking out, and you can do so whilst also supporting the channel by using my link in the description. Anyway, in the time it took me to tell you a tiny bit about Uppbeat, I got the sounds I needed and I can hook them up in the right places. Now I can place multiple motion sensors, call them unique names, have the dinosaurs trigger them, and both see and hear the notifications. With the items now fully functional, I'm finding myself asking something I did not think I would be within these 14 days. Now what? There are still things to do. We need to test everything in the main level, there's missing audio and of course bug fixing, but we have about 2.5 days left. Maybe we could do something more. Saying this opened a door in my mind and new ideas, new additions, new systems, they all started to come through, but I closed the door. because we've spent the last 12 days building a foundation which has allowed us to create things. I shouldn't be looking at breadth. I should be looking at utilizing what we have for depth. And with this mindset shift, I typed up a plan for the rest of day 12, and then I got to work. We have day and night, so I'm going to add this as a condition in the contract, with nighttime contracts being more rewarding. I'm adding a new camera. This one is called the Zoom Master, and well, you can probably guess what it's good at. It's very effective at macro photography, but you'll want to make sure both you and your subject are still. This camera really doesn't handle motion well. I think the badges are a really exciting new addition, so I added ones to complement new systems like a night badge. There's one for diversity, and one of the harder ones to get is a badge for taking a photo whilst being chased. Oh, hello. Okay, turn around, photo. Okay, yeah, that'll be it. Run! I am so sorry. I will take a photo of you. That way we can all remember your sacrifice. Was that an ankylosaur? It's a sad day. Oh yeah, there's also a dead badge. Today has done something really important. It has made the game feel fuller, and I'm finding myself wanting to continue playing. Over the final 2 days, the plan is to hopefully continue to expand, test, and refine. That was until an old enemy returned. The level we've been testing everything in, the place we've called home for the past 12 days, it's time to say goodbye, because we're heading back to our main level. We have our new toys to test, and I'd also like to make some changes to the level. There is now a much stronger need for the player to know exactly where the laptop is. It has become our hub, but this level doesn't naturally encourage you back here. It just wasn't designed with that in mind. I've also found that the time of day function needs expanding because it isn't accounting for the fog or the sky sphere. So I added this into the logic and started to play around with some values, and just as we were starting to get somewhere, it happened. The arch nemesis of last episode has returned. The performance cost was performance. Performance has been the buzzword of this video. Performance. When packaged, it's fine, but to work with in editor, it is slow, it is difficult, and it is painful. After last time, I am not accepting this. I just can't work in it. So potentially unwise and definitely unplanned, I'm going to tackle this head first. I'm going to make a completely new level. I don't even know if we have enough time, but I have to try. But within this decision is also an opportunity. I'm going to work on a couple of key design principles to make a better level. The first is to help make a stronger starting area. This will have a laptop and be a locational point of reference, a place which the level naturally flows in and out of, so you're never truly lost. This is a world without man-made paths, but by working from the largest trees down to the smallest, we can form natural looking gradients. These become guiding lines. I don't actually know if this level is bigger than the last one, but it is going to feel bigger because of line of sight. I'm making sure that there are many areas where you can see far. Being able to see from the center to the coast with very little breaking your view, it creates a sense of openness and depth, which results in scale. And quite simply, you're more likely to see dinosaurs in the distance and want to go check them out. And now, I can take a closer look at lighting. I think the previous level felt a little bit overdone, a bit too warm, too saturated, too much fog, so I'm going for something cleaner and more neutral, with stronger volumetrics to emphasize the depth. But whilst we've been making improvements, the root of the decision to take the risk in making a new level, it was for the performance. So, has it worked? Yes, thankfully it has. Not only can I work freely in editor without frustration, but you can also enjoy the improved performance too in the package build with higher frame rates. Why the previous level was so inconsistent and incredibly heavy to run at times, that will remain a mystery. But moving forward, we've not only saved my sanity, but we've made some genuine improvements. Personally, I really prefer this world much more, and I hope you will too when you play it. But so many wins have come at a cost. That cost being that we've now entered a race against time, because unbelievably, tomorrow is the final day. Here we are, the final day, and we don't have a second to spare, so let's get right into it. I have a big list of things I need and want to do, and I'm sure we'll find some expected things along the way. One of the biggest needs right now is to get some dinosaurs in the world. We may have an improved level, but it's empty. Previously, we were using a population manager which would randomly spawn dinosaurs at points in the level, but we have contracts now. What if a Spinosaurus doesn't spawn? That's a problem. So I'm going to hand place around 50 dinosaurs in the level. That way we know that initially there's definitely at least one of every dinosaur, but that's not the only benefit. The population manager spawning so many dinosaurs one after another did have an initial performance hit, but because we can skip that now, loading the game is much faster and smoother. With a couple of the need to do tasks out of the way, let's do something I want to do. Now that we can switch to nighttime, the Jeep's lights could serve more of a purpose. I'm going to use the time of day dispatcher to trigger a change in the Jeep when materials are emissive, and then toggle some spotlights on and off. Now the Jeep looks way cooler at night, and I can kind of see where I'm going. Never mind. The laptop with all its new fancy functions could feel a bit more laptop-y, so I'm going to change some of the fonts, button styles, and give it a background. And of course, we all know by now, nothing is complete until it has audio. So I gave the laptop all the satisfying clicks you'd expect, along with some feedback noises for contracts and the shop. The time is ticking, and the remainder of the day is going to be very scattered, as I need to frantically fix bugs, test and balance the data assets for items, update control scheme prompts, and continue adding new audio to things such as the sleeping bag. Iterating, fixing, packaging and testing over and over until eventually the clock strikes and we need to package the game for the last time. "14 days ago, I set off on a journey to take a big step forward with our Dream Dinosaur Game, to try and make it 10 times better through your ideas and suggestions. And it's through your excitement for an idea for what could be that we're here now." I've been lying to you throughout the whole video. I told you that we were working on the top 5 most requested features in no particular order. We were actually working on the top 6, because there is one feature I've kept secret throughout all of this, and it was the #1 most requested feature, and it wasn't even close, and it is something which I 100% agree with. I grew up loving dinosaurs, and my love for them was re-sparked upon watching Prehistoric Planet, because it did something special. It took me into the world. It made me go, holy shit, that's a T-Rex. I want to go into the prehistoric world, feet on the ground and feel it, see it, hear it. That's the core value of this. But we can't truly do that until we address your #1 requested feature. The dinosaurs and realistic visuals. You should see a Triceratops and stop in wonder. You should hear a T-Rex coming and freeze in fear. And we have so far been limited in our ability to do that with these assets. But not anymore. I'm going to do this. But as you can imagine, there is an insane amount of work and investment involved with achieving this. So it's going to be an entire episode of its own in which we rip everything up from its roots and rebuild a realistic prehistoric world with realistic dinosaurs and deeper behaviour. But because I'm so excited to share with you where this is going, I'm going to share a short teaser with you. It's just a little something to give you an idea of where this is going. And hopefully you'll be as excited as I am. Really? Now? My screen's gonna mess. What are the... Make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss the next episode. I can't wait to share more with you. And make sure you've got notifications turned on so you know the second it comes out. Share all of your ideas and thoughts in the comments below. If you need any proof that I see them and I take them on board, this entire video is it. And this update is also completely free, so head on over to twitch.io via the link in the description and download the latest version. I hope you have a great time with it. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you've enjoyed the journey so far. If you have, remember to hit the like button. It genuinely does so much for the video. and I will see you all next time.